I worked, I'm a recovering newspaper man, and I worked for a number of years, for over a decade, for the Baltimore Sun. And I remember at times I'd get, people would say, oh, you wrote that story about that guy to sell newspapers. And I can tell you, you know, at the Baltimore Sun, proud paper, circulation about 300,000 at the time daily, you know, if we sold more than, call it 1,000 extra papers, is a pretty big day for us. Like street stand sales, most of your sales are going to be for paper like that, subscription sales. So you sell things, you sell a couple extra thousand, that's a big deal. If you think about it, you're selling an extra 50 cents a paper. You know, if you get 500 to 1,000 bucks extra that day, it's not a huge deal. So there's no real way that in that particular story they'll say, oh, you're just doing that to get a headline to sell papers. You know, unless the Baltimore Ravens win the Super Bowl that day, at which point we're just going to clear all the racks. You know, we're not going to make that much money on it. And unless you keep that and sustain it over time, you're not going to be able to really gouge advertisers for that additional advertising revenue. So there's a slight difference between the models economically for print and for television, which is pure. And television, you know, they can rate it. Sometimes it feels like down to the quarter of the second in terms of how many eyeballs are there. And there are arguments over how well they measure it, but they really do care and track this stuff. And there is no question. You know, we were talking a little bit about, you mentioned, I think, Katrina. You know, at times of great crisis, the mainstream media have great muscle knowledge, and they really step up. I think, you know, the invasion of Iraq and of Afghanistan, 9/11, this, you know, the seeming the literal, you know, devastation of New Orleans, the media steps up and it knows how to do that and acts. And in the absence of imminent crisis, it seems to me at times, there's this retreat and there's this anxiety about how the heck do we get people to continue watching us. And I think that's why you see runaway brides, you see missing blonde women, you see stories that are local and episodic and often tragic for the individuals involved and that have no real national import. But you see a seriousness of intensity, and you see this purpose involved, and they're trying to convince you of the importance of this to keep you watching. And there has been, you know, it's not that journalism is always timid at challenging authority, it's that sometimes it's not even looking at it, you know. And there's, you see the news magazine covers, Time and Newsweek, you know, are frequently very much trends. You'll see, you know, was Jesus real? You'll see it seemingly 6 times a year. And I'm not sure the answers have changed in those 2 months. And, you know, that's sort of one element of that.